Ustaz, most welcome to our program.
Barakallahu feek.
We had
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
We had two programs before, and
Yes.
we talked about Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam.
Naam.
Today we want to talk about emotions and how the prophets reacted to these emotions.
Naam. Thank you very much, Professor Suleyman, and thanks to Zaim University and its president. I'm very happy to contribute in this important, blessed subject. Really, we spoke about two prophets and how Allah has shaped their heredity and their environment in such a manner as to do the job which Allah wants them to do. Now we want to talk in general about emotions and how prophets dealt with their emotions. The word emotion is translated by Arab psychologists as infial, but a better word is awatif. How do they deal with their emotions? In order to talk about this, I'm trying to simplify issues by dividing responses to emotions into three categories. The first category, because now prophets are both, they are human beings and they are prophets. In what way do they respond as human beings? Not different from any other human being, maybe a little bit different in the strength of the response and its duration, but not different as the way they are created as human beings with nervous systems that respond to such changes in the environment. But there are other aspects in which the emotion that is stirred up in us, in order to respond to it, we have to think, and we will be conscious of what we are doing, and we will choose the right response according to our makeup, to our personalities, to the situations in which we are placed in. And in this sense, prophets are very different from other human beings in their responses. A third form of emotions is a group of responses to emotions which are completely ignored or largely ignored by Western psychology. And that is because they look at emotions from a neutral point of view. There are no good emotions and bad emotions. There are no, of course they speak about bad emotions as sick emotions, psychopathological, but they do not speak about it in a moral manner. There are no emotions that are good morally, like mercy, like for example, bravery, like behavior in which the person controls his emotions against lust, against love of food, love of sex, love of... These are all emotions within a moral aspect. And in Islam, it is quite obvious there are emotions that are not good all the time, like jealousy, hasad. It's all the time bad. But there are emotions like anger, which can be at times good, at times bad. Now, if somebody is behaving in a bad manner, and you are angry because he's molesting other people or doing, then this is good anger. But if you are so arrogant that any people would say a minor thing and then you will flare up in anger, this is not good anger. So here we have, and we find our great scholar, Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, has already dwelt on this subject in his Ihya Ulum al-Din. So indeed we can start with the first, inshallah.
Okay. Now, sir, if you like, we could start one of the prophets and any emotion you like. Fear or anger or mercy, whatever you like.
I think we want to start with, because I divided now responses to emotions into three forms. Emotions that we find ourselves unable not to respond. And in this sense, these are the emotions that cause us sudden fear, sudden anger, sudden pleasure. And these emotions, prophets they behave like human beings, not different. And let me start now with fear to explain this. For example, Prophet Dawood, when he wanted to stay alone, contemplating and making ibadah in his mihrab, in his own private place, and I expect, I don't know, but I'm just imagining, maybe he told nobody should come into this room. I'm sitting here making my ibadah. So as he was sitting there, all of a sudden, two people suddenly appeared in front of him. Now the door is locked. There is nobody could have come in. Then all of a sudden he finds them in front of him. And then he was shocked. Now to be shocked here is a human reaction which he cannot stop. The Quran says these two people, when they came in, they told him, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. He was terribly afraid. فَفَزِعَ مِنْهُمْ. The Quran used the word فَزِعَ. فَزِعَ is extreme fear. So he was really shocked, and he was in terrible fear. But then when they told him about, they relaxed him and told him, we are two and we want us to judge. Allah sent them to him in order to give him a lesson about how to be able to judge cases, to become a judge who is quite aware of the situations and not to be hasty in taking a decision. Now, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he was in Hira, in the mountain of Hira, making contemplations and ibadah to Allah, going for a whole month to stay there in this cave. This cave is in a very difficult place to go up to. It's almost perpendicular. When I first went to Hajj, It was in maybe 1959 or 58. I was still very young and strong, and I was an athlete. But then when I came to walk up this mountain, I became breathless. I had to sit down and take rest, and then walk for a while and take rest. Though they have made stairs and things now, which were not at the time of the Prophet. So the Prophet must have been a very physically very strong man. And Allah also chooses prophets who can really bear the responsibility of, because wahi, when the angel comes to bring revelation to a prophet, the prophet at the revelation at times can be taxing to the human body. They say at one time the prophet was on his camel, and then Jibril came down bringing revelation to him. The camel could not stand. It came down on its knees. So here the prophet was in Hira, and then all of a sudden, coming down, Jibril appeared to him in the way Allah created him. It's very fearful. The Prophet said he was so much afraid that he could not stand. He knelt down on the ground. He was on. So, and he came down to Sayyidah Khadija, his great wife, the Siruni, he was, please cover me up, he was shaking. So this is normal for the Prophet to see a huge creature of Allah, which is as large as the horizon, and appearing all of a sudden. This will tax the nervous system of the body, whether he is a prophet or a human being. But the prophet can stand more, and the fear will be less in terms of time.
Yes. Sir, you said prophets are like us in these emotions, but
Yes.
they are stronger than us.
Yes.
They can come back to their senses very quickly.
Yes. So here we are giving an example of the Prophet ﷺ, of Dawood, and also Moses. When Allah said to Moses, throw your stick, and then the stick started to move like a snake. Now Moses ran away. He ran away and did not look back to come back, you see, until Allah told him to come back. إِنِّي لَا يَخَافُ لَدَيَّ الْمُرْسَلُونَ. Come back. And then, of course, when Allah says come back, this is something which will move Moses back, whether he likes it or not. So it's of interest today to note that Moses felt quite afraid from the snake. The same thing after he already became a prophet, and those people of witchcraft came and threw the sticks, and the sticks moved. First he felt a little bit of fear, and this is also natural. But then very quickly he discovered that he is a prophet and the wahi, and so he was composed, and Allah told him, throw your stick. He threw his stick. It swallowed whatever they were throwing. So it is interesting now to know that there are researches that say that fear of human beings from snakes is something is built in their system, in their hard disk, so to speak. Just like the fear of women from rats and mice. Everywhere in the world they are like this, yeah. So These are examples. I want to give another example of anger. So here, the issue in fear, the thing appears suddenly and it is strange. An animal or people coming all of a sudden, things like this. In anger, a good example would be that of the Prophet ﷺ. When after the Battle of Uhud in Medina, he comes to look at the dead Sahaba, and he finds his own uncle, Hamza, and his stomach has been opened. His internal organs, his liver is coming and being eaten up. And he looked at Hamza, his body is being mutilated like this. And the Prophet all of a sudden felt anger which he never had before. And he said, Wallahi, if Allah gives me victory over them, I'm going to make the same thing to 50 of them. Now this response of the Prophet is a response, a human response. And the anger is human. So very quickly Allah brought him back. While he was standing, Jibreel comes and with revelation that if you have been a bad thing has been done to you, then you repel in the same manner. So but if you are patient, it is better for you. So the Prophet very quickly said, I will be patient. And he told his Sahaba, nobody should mutilate any dead body after it's being killed. So this is in anger, it is like this. Strange enough also in pleasure, in happiness, sudden happiness, something that will cause you to be terribly happy, unexpectedly. You will behave like a human with the way Allah created you as a human being. For example, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. Once the Prophet said to him, he came from Ethiopia. You know, he went to Abyssinia.
Yes.
And he came, and then the Prophet looked at him. Ja'far's features are like the Prophet. He looks like the Prophet. So the Prophet said to him, Ya Ja'far, ashbahta khalqi wa khuluqi. Your features are like mine, and your character is like mine. This was too much for Ja'far to tolerate. What did Ja'far do? He started to jump with one leg. This is called hajal. He learned this he saw the Ethiopians doing it. When they are very happy, they jump with one leg, you know, just like this. They raise the other leg and they keep jumping. So he started to behave like this, which is not for an Arab at that time or Sahabi. This is a very strange thing to do. So here, because of this human aspect in this is the fairest category of emotions I would like to talk to. But before I close this, there is a very important story that the person, when pleasure is too much and sudden, he might not only jump around and do things like this, but he can also say words that are not coherent or not true. This man, the Prophet tells us about this man who took his food and his
hadith.
Yeah, hadith, yes. His food and his water on his camel, and then he lied down under a tree to sleep a little bit. But then he woke up, the camel is not there. So he goes into the desert running here and there looking for it. He can't find it. Then he said, I better just go to under the tree and lie down to die. So he lay down, he slept. But when he woke up, he saw the camel standing in front of him with his food and water. Then he said to Allah, Ya Allah, you are my slave and I am your God. He turned
Out
it
of
upside down.
happiness.
Yeah. أنت عبدي وأنا ربك, something like this. So here he's talking gibberish, incoherent. Now here we are. The prophets, once they are met with conditions which tax their nervous system as humans, on their brains as humans, they will behave like humans. But they have the ability to very quickly come back to the normal. Coming back to normal is obvious in the case of the battle of Hawazin.
Mm-hmm.
When the Prophet and the Sahaba went to attack Hawazin in At-Taif, when they went there, it is for the first time they had 12,000 fighters. They were proud. We have 12,000 soldiers. We are going to have an easy victory over these people. So they were relaxed. And they came down the valley, a valley called Hunain. And when they came into the valley, already the people of Hawazin, the infidels, were all around with their bows and arrows and their swords. So all of a sudden, the Sahaba and the Prophet found themselves with a barrage of arrows and swords, people attacking them. What did the Sahaba do? Most of the Sahaba, with the exception of a handful, they ran away. Now, I will not say the Prophet was not shocked when they first came. He must have been shocked as a human being. But what did he do after this? In a matter of seconds, he stood there and he rode his mule and went to the enemy. أنا النبي لا كذب أنا ابن عبد المطلب. He went with force. He went alone until the few who were with him, they kept the mule from going into the. So very quickly he came back to revelation, and indeed in this manner. The first category of our responses to emotions are similar to our responses that are involuntary. Like, for example, if you put your hand on a hot stove, you'll have to pull your hand away. This is a reflexive action. It is similar to it, not exactly, but similar to it.
So, see, the lesson is we should learn how to quickly come back to our
Yes.
senses,
Yes.
out of all the sudden emotions.
Yeah, it is so, but it requires really
Training, maybe.
not only training, but it requires a form of a feeling. If you feel that Allah is in control of everything, and
Okay.
the snake in front of you is actually being completely under the power of Allah.
Full trust to Allah.
Yes. The second group of our responses to emotions is actually based on stimuli to which we have freedom of choice in responding to it. It is not sudden. It is not just moving our nervous system like robots. No. It is something which happens in which we think and we decide more slowly on what to do. And for example, if some people come and they will tell you, we want to kill you. What are you going to do? There is a number of possible choices. You are going to fight. Are you going to run away? Are you going to try to appease them, talk to them nicely, and tell them, give them whatever you have? What can you do? You have in front of you a number of possibilities to take. So in this kind of category of responses to emotions, we are dealing with voluntary and we are dealing with responses that depend on our decision making. And if the first one is something which is, if we talk about the nervous system, this second kind of response will come from our frontal lobes, which is thinking and decision making. It is not a matter of a sudden sort of response. So, in this manner, I gave the example, we want to kill you. Now here, this same issue was faced by prophets. And then the prophet, these people who are kuffar again, they come and tell him, we will kill you. Now, how does the prophet respond? Here the prophet cannot behave other than in the calm way in which Allah has put the sakina, has put tranquility in his heart. And he actually sees with his basira, he sees that these people, they have no power to kill him or not to kill him. Because Allah is in command of them. So what do the prophets say? The Quran tells us. In the case of one prophet, he says, please go, see your people, decide on killing me, and don't be slow. Come on and attack, because Allah is holding you. In another case of another prophet, he says to them, Nuh, the first case of Nuh, he says, come, أجمعوا أمركم ثم اقضوا إلي ولا تنظرون. Come on, let us see whether you will actually be killing me. Allah will not give you the... It is just like, to give you an example which I used, because all what I am talking about here is part of a book I am preparing in Arabic on the emotions of the prophets. And here I give the example of a stupid fellow who comes to tell you, you come into the zoo, and then this fellow comes to tell you, take care, the lion is going to attack you. Then you laugh at him. You know the lion is completely guarded in his cage. He cannot come out. Now these prophets see these people in a similar way. They are imprisoned by Allah. Allah says in the Quran, this Prophet said to them, ما من دابة إلا هو آخذ بناصيتها. There is nothing that moves on earth on 2 legs or 4 legs or crawls on its tummy without Allah holding it by the nasiya. For human beings, the nasiya is the frontal part of the head. When you come to fight with somebody to humiliate, you hold his hair, the hair in front, and shake it like this. I am in control of you. I will do this to you. So Allah is holding everything that moves on earth in this manner. So he cannot be afraid. Now let us see an example from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he immigrated with Abu Bakr, and they went up the mountain, and they got into the cave, Ghar Thor, the cave of Thor. And when they got in, this is a man, the Prophet is a man in which the people, Kuffar of Quraysh, have put very high price for his head. Anyone who can tell where is Muhammad or get him, he will receive this present. And people are looking everywhere. And then they come up to the cave, very near to them. And Abu Bakr says to the Prophet, Wallahi ya Rasulullah, if anyone looks at his legs, if anyone look down at his feet, he will see us. Now what did the Prophet do? Just imagine, I want you, those who are listening to me today, just imagine a person who is under this condition, then he falls asleep. When the Prophet got into the cave, he put his head on the thigh of Abu Bakr and fell into deep sleep, because he is really in full tranquility, sakina. They cannot do anything to him. Now this is something which cannot be reached by normal Muslims. But they can come near to it. A normal Muslim, when his life is in danger, if he behaved in an erratic manner, in a wrong manner, it's okay to save his life. Ammar ibn Yasir, when they held him and they really made him taste a lot of punishment, and they said, curse Muhammad, unless you curse, will not leave you alone. So he cursed the Prophet. And then he came after that to the Prophet apologetically. The Prophet said, if they come back to do the same thing to you, do the same, respond in the same manner. Because he knows the ability of Ammar ibn Yasir at the time. But some others would not let go. They will say, kill us, and they die. Al-Awza'i, when he came to this man who established Al-Abbasiyya, the Abbasid dynasty, this man, is there anybody who is against me here, strong, who can stand? Yes, Al-Awza'i, they brought Al-Awza'i to him. And then Al-Awza'i said, first he was shocked, he was afraid. But then, when he remembered Allah, he could see the soldiers around this man and his power as if they are flies. Now this can happen to very, very, very few Muslims. Mm-hmm. But for prophets, they cannot, and they should not, and they will not be able to behave differently because of the sakina which is coming over them.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, here it is, we have the freedom of choice. The best way to improve our choices when we are faced with such emotional situations is to train ourselves by degrees. We cannot do it all of a sudden. We will have to know that what is our weakness and how we can. For example, I maybe already gave you this example of Al-Ghazali, to this man who could not control his temper. He's a merchant. And when somebody comes, you know, some people are really liars and sticky. They come, they want to buy something, but instead of just paying, particularly this is common in the Arab world among women, they come, no, it's for, please reduce it, so on. Oh, I went to another shop and I bought it for so and so. He's lying, of course. He has not. Generally, merchants know these people, so they tell, okay, you bought it for this much, okay, I will give you money, you bring me a number, and then I will pay you, you see. Then he will know that the merchant discovered they are lying, then they will come to something in between, and they will pay and go. Now this man will not tolerate. Once the person says something like this, I bought it for so and so, he holds the person by the neck and throws him out of the shop. And at times he might just slam him or do something like this. But he was a good man in spite of this. He loses his temper very easily, but how can he control? So what he did, because every time he goes home to sleep, he cannot sleep. How can I do this to a Muslim? I am wrong, so and so. From guilt he cannot sleep. So what he did something which we are doing today in psychological clinics. We call it systematic desensitization, in which you do train the person to emotionally deal with the situation in a gradual manner. And you give him a positive reward if he is successful. So this man hired another person to come and curse him. He comes to him at home and he curses him. What do you think you are? So and so he comes. You look at your beard like a he-goat, you are so and so, you are so. He says words that will make him angry. But then when he feels angry, he begins to make tasbih and relaxation spiritually to get over it. Now this is repeated. The man comes today, comes tomorrow, the same. Then he's no more moved. So he told him, tomorrow when you come, I will have 2 or 3 of my friends with me. Come and attack me in front of them. So he is increasing the number of people gradually until he reached the point where he told him to come and curse him publicly in the marketplace. So when he did so, everybody in the marketplace was expecting this man to be killed or to be really seriously attacked. But the man was smiling and was relaxed. And from that day onwards, this man became one of the most patient people in the marketplace. Now here we are. We should be able to see our weakness. Al-Ghazali tells us that all humans are actually dominated, or they are sort of brought to pushed to do bad things by two powers. And he look at these powers as animals. One of them is a lion, and the other is a pig. The lion is the one that makes you angry. It goes into your soul and tells you, how come he says so and so, you must attack him, you must do so. This is the lion in you. And the pig is for lust. Look at that beautiful woman, so and so, just run after her, try to take her to food, you see, eating khalas. Already he has eaten enough, but he wants to eat more. And to eat. So everything concerning lust, food, women, whatever, this is done by the pig. Every human being has a pig and a lion. And it depends on how he controls these animals in him that he is able to take the right decisions emotionally. So I think we need to see our behavior. What sort of behavior is coming? Because at the end, Al-Ghazali says, some people think they are worshipping Allah, but at the end, when they die, they discover that they have been worshipping a pig all their life, or worshipping a lion all their life. If they are arrogant and getting angry about life in general and about others, then indeed. So I think that in this manner, we need to gradually train ourselves. And this graduality is important in every aspect. For example, in terms of reducing the amount of food you eat. Al-Ghazali says, don't stop your, if you have a large bread that you eat every day with each meal, then when you take the bread, break a little bit of it and throw it away and eat the rest. Tomorrow, take 2 pieces. After 3 or 4 days, take more. Gradually, you will find yourself living with almost a quarter of a bread without feeling hungry. I think in every respect, we have a way of getting over this.
Okay.
The last group of emotions comes logically from what we have been saying. It is where the person has actually defeated his lion and his pig. Not only that, but he has developed positive emotions in response to conditions. Love, for example, love of others. Look at this spread of love. The Prophet, he weeps when he remembers his own ummah. Not only his ummah, but also it goes to animals. Animals complain to him and he takes care of them and loves them. Not only animals, but even to inanimate things. The Prophet speaks about the mountain of Uhud in Medina. This mountain is a mountain that loves us, and we love this mountain, and we love this mountain. So here, ash-shafaqa, pity to other poor people. The love of your own country and the home. Look how this when the Prophet and the Sahaba emigrated to Medina. And then this Sahabi who was the muazzin of the Prophet Bilal, he begins to read poetry about his love to Mecca and how he was being driven out of, how he begins to speak about certain places in Mecca, and he weeps, and the Prophet's his eyes were full of tears. This is the love of one's origin, one's own, is something which is positive and good. Not only to care for the people who are in trouble, but also to feel that even those people who are rich or who have in a certain position, you feel within your heart that they are actually unaware that this wealth they have accumulated is actually can become a source of trouble for them. The Quran says to us that إنما يريد الله ليعذبهم بها في الحياة الدنيا. Allah is punishing them with their wealth. Just imagine a person now who only lives on his salary and comes home tired from his job and sleeps. Compare him with this fellow. Half the night is awake, thinking about the shares, whether they go up or go down, what will happen to my account in such and such a bank. I mean, at times, this going above the materialistic world will make a person not only happier, but actually, once you have trained yourself in this third element of emotions, you train yourself to stimulate the positive aspects in you, in your emotions. You will be happier in this world and the next.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a really beautiful program.
Thank you.
We talk about 3 different emotions, and
Yes.
next time maybe we can give more examples.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much.